It's actually a brutal experience going back to social media posts from 10 years ago. Because not only does it mean that you're older than 10 years old, but just the way we used to speak. Oh my gosh. Hi, I'm Rose Matafeo, and these are my firsts for NME. The first film I ever fell in love with was possibly, I think, like maybe The Breakfast Club or Pretty in Pink, maybe. I think it was a very formative kind of film for me at a young age. I think I saw a lot of myself in those Molly Ringwald characters who had over-the-top bedrooms and ruined prom dresses. The first CD I ever bought, and I saved up my money for it and ordered it in especially from Real Groovy in Auckland, was Hunting High and Low by a-ha. It was an album I became obsessed with after loving Take On Me, being introduced to Take On Me by the music video as well as its prevalence on SingStar, the first iteration of it, being one of the hardest songs. And then I fell in love with Morten Harket. And then I went, I'm going to order the CD, and ordered the CD. And it's an incredible album that everyone should listen to. Hunting High and Low. The first tattoo I've ever got, and the only tattoo I have, is an S on my ankle. I mean, I don't know if I can, it's here. It's here. There, you can see it. And that's going to show up on wikifeet.com. I just know it, that screen grab. They're very fast. They work very fast. It is an S, and it pains me to say this. It's an S because that is the first initial of my improv group. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed that is my tattoo. I shouldn't tell people that, but we just got very sort of excited after a brunch one day, and then went to a tattoo parlor, and we all got the letter S tattooed on ourselves, about 10 or 12 of us. It wasn't until Greg Davies pointed out that it looks like the Skechers logo that I was like, yeah, I've made a huge mistake. The first band t-shirt I ever owned, was a Franz Ferdinand band t-shirt. It was a brown one. It was the same color scheme as their first album, and it was the logo. It was backwards. It was very cool, high quality t-shirt. And I also got a second bootlegged Franz Ferdinand t-shirt later on. So I had two, and I loved it. I loved it more than anything. The first TV show I ever was in was actually a children's television show called Sticky TV back in New Zealand. I was a agony aunt of sorts. Children would ask advice. It was called How's It, a How's It panel. Children would ask advice of other children, which I can't say is possibly the best idea. I gave some pretty bad advice, but I was like 12 years old. I was in no position to give any advice a child should follow. But that was my first foray into television, yes. The first time I was ever heckled, it's just really interesting because the first time I was ever properly heckled was like recently. It was 2019, I think. It was at the Brighton Dome. I was supporting my friend Nish Kumar, so I was opening for him. And I genuinely have never really had hecklers in my life. I do whimsical comedy, and I expect that I should get more hecklers, but I never did until this gig, at a Nish Kumar gig, where a man who looked like an egg yelled out at me. I was doing jokes about, just being a woman. I think it was slightly stuff about feminism, and I was wearing a leopard print dress at the time, and he yelled out, he heckled something about, my feminism or whatever. And then he called me Ginger Spice or something. He referenced me looking like a Spice Girl. And the whole crowd was just turned on him. But I think they turned on him for the very justified reason. They were like, That's the wrong Spice Girl. Obviously it's Mel B. You idiot. She's wearing leopard print. What are you doing? Ginger Spice. So yeah, that was the only time I've been heckled, has been told I look like a Ginger Spice when I really look like Mel B. The first festival I ever performed at was the New Zealand International Comedy Festival when I was 15 years old. It also happened to be my first gig, and it was how I got into comedy. It was a show of teenagers. It was called Class Comedians, and we all had to perform 5 minutes of comedy. And I still have the footage of it on YouTube as an unlisted video that no one will ever see. But it's actually pretty good, to be honest. It's not as bad as I thought. Like, there was something there. The first time I saw myself on TV was probably as a kid when I did that children's TV show. But then I also started doing music television when I was about 19 in New Zealand. It was live music television in the afternoons. And I could see myself on TV because it was live. We had the live feed like right next to us, as well as an app where people would comment live, and we would have to moderate the comments. So it was truly a baptism of fire, because you'd be doing the television show and then getting comments being like, you suck. Why are you hosting the show? And then having to turn back to the camera and be like, and coming up now, Avicii. And coming up now, Calvin Harris. So yeah, I saw myself do live television, and it was a weird experience. The first gig I've ever been to, well, I had very cool parents and who are into very cool music and loved going to music gigs and concerts and stuff. So my mum was really into house music. So I remember like when I was about 9, she really wanted to go to like a dance party called Dancing in the Streets, but she had me, and so she was like, can you just come? And so I remember like sitting there next to a speaker like at the front while I just watched my mum dance with her friends, and just sitting there like waiting for her to like take me home. So also I grew up Rastafarian, so there's a lot of reggae around. So basically every time we went to our version of church was sort of just then turned into a dance and a gig. So yeah, I think I've been going to gigs in a way since I was born. So yeah, that's odd to say, but yeah. The first post I ever posted on Instagram, I can't say because it's quite a long way to scroll back. Can't be bothered doing that. I imagine it was probably from a very low res early iPhone, possibly of like, I think before Instagram, we knew what Instagram truly was. And that was a place to post thirsty selfies. We were a lot more innocent with it. So it was probably like a picture of like some cupcakes I made or something boring like that, being like with captions that I just don't want to even read anymore. It's actually a brutal experience going back to social media posts from 10 years ago, because not only does it mean that you're older than 10 years old, but just the way we used to speak. Oh my gosh. The first thing I'm going to do after Starstruck is released is change my Twitter password and not check it for a week. And maybe delete Instagram for a couple days and just sort of let that baby fly the coop, see what happens. If it loves me, it will come back to me. And if it doesn't, it never loved me in the first place. But no, I think I'll ring my nan, say, hey, it's out. I did something. She'll go, oh, that's so lovely. Look at the new concrete that we've put out the garden. I'll go, oh yeah, show me that. That's what I'll do.